The last customers had already left Benny's grill, and the neon signs buzzed softly against the quiet night. Grace wiped down the tables with slow, tired movements, while her 8-year-old daughter, Maya, stepped outside to toss a bag of trash into the dumpster. Maya moved silently, the way she always did, watching the ground and clutching the bag tightly. Her world was made of vibrations, lights, and the quick movements of people's faces, because she was deaf. And on nights like these, the silence felt safer than people. But tonight wasn't normal. Before Maya even reached the dumpster, 4 teenage boys stepped out from behind the alley. Brandon, the ringleader, held his phone up, flashlight on, shining directly into Maya's eyes. "There she is," he said with a laugh. "The mute little actress. Do something weird, come on." Maya froze, chest rising and falling fast. She didn't hear the mocking laughter, but she felt the vibration of the trash can when one of the boys kicked it, and she recognized the cruelty in their expressions. Facial cues she had learned to fear. So Tyler waved his hands in exaggerated motions, taunting her attempts at signing. "Oh, look, guys, she's doing alien signals again." The other boys closed in around her like a tightening circle. Maya instinctively covered her ears, a habit she couldn't stop even though sound never reached her. Brandon leaned closer, phone inches from her tear-streaked face. "Hey, robot girl, where's your mommy? She dump you out here with the trash?" Maya stumbled back, almost slipping on the wet pavement. Her breath came out in sharp, panicked bursts, and a loud engine rumbled at the end of the alley. For a moment, the boys stiffened. Motorcycles in Riverside Heights usually meant trouble, or someone dangerous enough to bring it. A man on a black cruiser bike glided toward them, heavy boots hitting the ground as he parked. His leather vest had a faded patch and a skull emblem, but the nameplate said a Rider J tattoos covered his arms, and his eyes moved slowly between the teens and Maya. "What's going on here?" he said, voice low. Brandon lowered his phone a little, but kept smirking. "Relax, old man. Just joking around." The biker stared at the boys, then shifted his gaze to Maya. He crouched slightly, giving her a small nod meant to look reassuring. Maya stepped closer to him, trembling. "It's okay, kid," he murmured. "I'm here now." The boys backed away a few steps. Not scared, just uncertain. But as Maya hid behind the biker's leg, something about the man's smile changed. A tiny smirk tugged at the corner of his mouth, cold and amused, almost invisible unless someone watched closely. He didn't chase the boys off. He didn't tell them to stop. And Maya didn't yet understand that she'd just clung to the wrong person. As the boys circled back with fresh boldness, Maya realized too late. The stranger she trusted wasn't a savior at all, and the real danger was only beginning. The boys hesitated when the biker stepped between them and Maya, but only for a moment. Brandon kept the camera pointed, capturing everything with the shaky arrogance of someone who thought he owned the night. "You recording this?" Ryder J asked without turning his head. Brandon grinned. "Yeah, there. Whole thing. She freaks out so easily, man. You should see her cry when we really scare her." The biker's shoulders rose and fell in a slow breath. Not in anger, not in disapproval, but something closer to amusement. Maya didn't notice. She stood behind him, small fingers gripping the back of his vest like it was a lifeline. "You boys always hanging out in alleys?" Ryder J asked. Tyler shrugged. "Better than watching some deaf kid sign at trash cans." The biker chuckled softly. Maya felt the vibration of his laugh through his vest, and she stiffened. Something about that sound didn't feel like protection. It felt like the laughter she heard through her chest earlier, the one the boys made. Still crouched slightly, Ryder J glanced over his shoulder at Maya. His eyes softened just enough to fool anyone desperate for safety. "Don't worry, I'll handle this." But he didn't. Instead, he slowly stepped aside, just enough for the boys to see her again. They grinned when the view cleared. Maya's heart thudded painfully. She reached for the biker's jacket again, but he moved forward, breaking her grip. "All right, boys," he said, stretching his neck lazily. "Have your fun. Just don't leave marks. I don't want to hear police sirens tonight." Brandon blinked, confused. "Wait, what? Huh? Aren't you helping her?" The biker snorted. "You helping? Kid, do I look like a social worker?" He tapped his skull patch. "We don't babysit little cry machines." Maya felt the ground tilt. Her breath hitched, throat tightening. She stepped back, bumping into the dumpster. The biker stepped closer to her now, leaning down with a smirk that felt colder than the night air. You should have gone straight home, little girl. Alleys aren't meant for kids like you." Then he flicked her forehead with 2 fingers. Hard. Not enough to injure, but enough to sting. Brandon burst out laughing. Tyler elbowed him. Dude, even the biker thinks she's a joke. Maya's vision blurred as she raised her hands to sign stop, but the biker mimicked her, twisting his wrists in an exaggerated mockery. The boys followed his lead, laughing even louder. Her safe place, the spot she thought she found, had become another circle of cruelty. And inside the restaurant, what none of them knew was that the video they were filming would reach the wrong eyes. And the first person who saw it would not be nearly as patient as writer Jay Brandon uploaded the clip before the boys even left the alley. The title read, "A deaf girl panic attack face with tears of joy, watch till the end." Within minutes, notifications exploded on his phone. Likes, laughing emojis, shares, the entire feed lit up as if cruelty were a sport. Tyler leaned over his shoulder. "You due to 2,000 views already? It's only been 10 minutes. Brandon beamed. "We're gonna blow up. People love this stuff." Maya didn't know what the boys were saying, but she recognized their excitement, the same giddy expression they wore each time they mocked someone. She wiped her tears with trembling fingers and scanned the alley for an escape route. She didn't see one. Ryder J blocked the only exit. The biker relit a cigarette, letting the glow illuminate his smirk. "A smile, princess. Internet loves a good cry." Maya shook her head frantically, signing "please stop," but the boys were too entertained to care and the biker too indifferent to intervene. "Let's go," Brandon said finally. We got our content." The boys strutted out of the alley, still laughing, leaving Maya alone with Ryder J. She pressed herself against the brick wall, eyes wide, feet ready to run, but he didn't move. He simply watched her. His expression wasn't angry. It wasn't even cruel. It was worse, empty, like someone who enjoyed chaos the same way others enjoyed music. "You probably think someone's going to save you," he murmured. Maya didn't respond. She couldn't. "Here's the truth." He flicked ash from his cigarette. "People only care when it's too late." He turned away, got back on his motorcycle, and revved the engine. "Oh, watch yourself, kid." Then he was gone. Only when the rumble of the bike faded did Maya collapse to her knees, shaking uncontrollably. She stayed like that for a full minute before forcing herself up and stumbling into the restaurant. Grace saw her daughter's swollen eyes and trembling hands and immediately dropped the cleaning cloth. "Amia, baby, what happened?" Maya tried to sign, but her hands shook so violently the signs blurred. Grace wrapped her arms around her and pulled her close. "It's okay. Breathe. Mommy's here." The phone buzzed against Grace's hip. A coworker had sent her a message. "Is this Maya?" Grace opened the link, and the video began playing automatically. She didn't blink for the full 20 seconds. Didn't breathe. Her heart hammered in her chest. Someone had filmed her child, mocked her, hurt her, and posted it for the whole world to laugh at. Grace closed the video, her jaw trembling with fury. But the video wasn't done traveling. It continued jumping from screen to screen until it reached someone who would not stay silent. Not far away, a man with a scarred jaw and a past full of violence saw Maya's face, and the moment he did, the quiet town's peace shattered. 2 towns over, in a cluttered garage smelling of oil and old memories, Jonas a Tank Mercer sat hunched over an engine block. The radio crackled with static, the only sound breaking the late-night silence. Tank preferred noise. Silence gave too much room for ghosts to speak. His phone buzzed on the workbench. A notification from an old veterans group chat. Someone just posted this. Needs attention. Tank almost ignored it. He'd promised himself he wouldn't get involved in other people's battles anymore. Not after the things he'd already lost. But then he tapped the video. 20 seconds of a black little girl terrified. 20 seconds of 4 boys laughing. 20 seconds of a biker, a man wearing a patch Tank recognized, standing there doing nothing, even flicking the girl's forehead like she was an object. Tank froze. That patch wasn't from his club, but it was from a crew he knew all too well, a crew that loved causing trouble for weaker people just for entertainment. His knuckles tightened until they turned white. The girl pressed against the wall, shaking. The boys mocking her hands, the biker smirking. Tank replayed it 3 times, studying every angle, every detail, every face. He wasn't prepared for the rush of emotion that hit him. The girl's expression, that mix of fear and silent pleading, struck somewhere deep inside him. Somewhere he thought had died 3 years ago when he buried his daughter area after a diagnosis turned into a nightmare he couldn't fix. Arya had been deaf too. Solon's Hank hadn't been able to save her. He wasn't sure he'd ever forgiven himself. But this little girl, this Maya, someone was hurting her, and the whole world was laughing. Tank closed the garage door with a force that rattled the walls. His heart pounded in a way it hadn't in years. Not since he hung up his biker cut and walked away from the Brotherhood. He grabbed his vest from the hook on the wall. The leather was worn, the patch faded, but the creed remained the same: protect those who can't protect themselves. Tank slipped it on and grabbed his helmet. Before leaving, he sent one message to the veterans group: a child in danger. Myth. I'm going to Riverside Heights. Anyone available? Follow my lead. Within seconds, replies flooded in. On the way. Just give the address. Say no more, Tank. Tank revved his engine, the roar echoing like thunder down the empty street. He wasn't just riding to confront some bullies. He was riding because he couldn't fail another child. But what Tank didn't know was that the boys, emboldened by their viral fame, were already planning their next move, and this time, Maya's home was their target. By morning, Riverside Heights buzzed with whispers. Students shared the video at school, neighbors gossiped behind curtains, and every social feed displayed Maya's tear-streaked face like it was some kind of entertainment. Grace kept Maya home, refusing to let her near the doors or windows. Each time the little girl tried to sign what had happened, her hands trembled so violently that Grace had to hold them steady and remind her she was safe now. But safety was an illusion, because across town, the four boys were riding the high of viral attention. Brandon strutted into the cafeteria like he was a celebrity. 500,000 views, he announced to anyone who'd listen. Oh, we're legends. Tyler snickered, scrolling through comments. 8 people are begging for a part 2. They want us to scare her again. Jane leaned in. What about that biker dude from last night? Think he'll help again if she freaks out? Brandon scoffed. He didn't help her. He just didn't care. Kevin grinned. Perfect. Means we can do whatever we want. Their laughter was loud enough to catch the attention of students passing by, but no one said anything. No one ever did. By noon, Brandon had already mapped out their plan. Oh, we go to her house tonight, he said. A film from the porch. Maybe bang on the windows. Get her crying again. People love the dramatic stuff. Tyler pointed at his phone. Other pointed at his phone. Someone commented her address, bro. It's real. Look. The four boys huddled around the screen, excitement building like electricity. None of them noticed the custodian emptying the trash nearby, an older man with sharp eyes who overheard everything. He didn't say a word, but as soon as the boys walked away, he sent a message to an anonymous number. They're planning something for the girl tonight. Be ready. That message reached Tank while he was riding. He had already spent hours replaying the footage, memorizing faces, clothing, body language, anguage. He recognized the alley in the video. He knew the direction the boys were walking from. He knew which biker crew Rider J belonged to, and how dangerous that made the situation. But this message? This changed the mission. Tank pulled over onto the shoulder of the highway, helmet still on, fingers tightening around the phone. They were going to her house. Not just random bullying, not a one-time scare, premeditated, planned, escalating. Tank's jaw clenched. He felt that old heat rise inside him, the one he used to bury under missions and war zones. He typed quickly, all riders within 30 miles, meet at Diesel Station off Route 19. Potential threat to a child, move. Responses popped up instantly. At 10 minutes away, 3 riders coming. I'm armed. Armed. Should I bring gear? Tank's answer was short. Bring everything. He kicked the bike back into gear, the engine growling like a beast waking from sleep. If those boys thought the night before was fun, they were about to learn what real consequences looked like. But what Tank didn't know was that Ryder J, the biker who had mocked Maya, was already heading to the same neighborhood. And he wasn't finished with her either. The sun was dipping behind the rooftops when Grace finally managed to convince Maya to eat a few bites of dinner. Dinner. The little girl sat curled on the couch, knees pulled to her chest, flinching at every vibration of footsteps from the upstairs neighbors. Every soundless tremor felt like danger, like last night repeating itself. Grace kept checking the door, the windows, her phone, her social feed. The video was everywhere, reposted, clipped, memeified. Strangers laughed in the comments, arguing whether Maya's fear looked funny or dramatic. Grace's insides twisted with each notification. People can be cruel, baby, she whispered, brushing Maya's hair back. But you're strong. You're stronger than they'll ever be, but Maya wasn't feeling strong. Her eyes kept drifting to the front door. She felt something coming. Across town, Brandon and the others poured into Kevin's father's truck, cameras ready, hoodies up, whispering plans like mischievous little criminals. Brandon adjusted his phone on a stabilizer. We go live when we're on our porch. Everyone will freak out. Part two of the deaf show, Tyler giggled. James added, if she cries again, we'll hit 1 million views easy. The truck barreled toward Maya's street. They weren't worried. They weren't scared. They had never been stopped before, and just a block away, another engine roared. Ryder J. He cruised slowly through the neighborhood, cigarette dangling from his mouth, scanning mailboxes until he spotted the number he saw in the video comments. Maya's house. His smirk widened. A kid should have kept quiet, he muttered, parking his bike in the shadows. He didn't come to protect her. He came because chaos, fear, and vulnerability attracted him like blood attracts sharks. He approached the house on foot, boots silent on the pavement, eyes glinting with the thrill of unfinished business. Meanwhile, Tank and 4 other riders arrived at the meeting spot near Route 19. More engines echoed behind them, riders from 2 neighboring towns pulling in, ready for whatever Tank needed. Diesel, a broad-shouldered veteran with a scar across his brow, stepped beside Tank's bike. You really think these kids are stupid enough to go after her again? Tank told him everything. You saw the video. Tank said. There's no limit to what entitlement can justify. He didn't say the other worry eating at him, that biker. Ryder J. Tank recognized the patch on the man's vest the moment he saw the footage. That crew wasn't just reckless. They were known for brutality disguised as thrill-seeking. Tank had crossed paths with them years ago. He knew exactly what they were capable of. A mount up, Tank ordered. You were moving in. No child gets terrorized on our watch. Engines thundered as the group formed a column and roared toward Riverside Heights. Tank didn't know whether he'd get there in time, but he was sure of one thing. He wasn't leaving without Maya safe. Up ahead, 3 forces were racing toward the same quiet street. The Bullies, a dangerous biker, and a war-hardened protector. Only one of them would reach Maya first, and everything hinged on the next few minutes. The street where Maya lived was normally calm by evening, porch lights glowing, dogs barking in distant yards, families finishing dinner. But tonight, there was a heaviness in the air, a strange tension that even Maya could feel in the vibrations through the floor. She sat on the couch with a blanket around her shoulders, rocking slightly. Grace held her close, but her own hands were shaking now. She kept glancing at the door every few seconds, as if expecting it to burst open. Maya placed her palm on Grace's chest, her way of asking a question. What is it, sweetheart? Grace whispered. Maya signed one word. Afraid. Grace's throat tightened. I won't let anything happen to you. I swear. But the universe didn't wait, because outside, headlights turned onto their street. Kevin's father's truck rolled slowly up to Maya's house, crawling to a stop across from the fence. The boys huddled inside, electrified with anticipation. Brandon pulled up his hood. Okay, we sneak up, knock hard, get a reaction, and go live. No big deal. Tyler checked the camera. Tusky camera. A bro chat is already waiting. They want chaos. Then let's give it to them. They piled out of the truck, giggling, whispering, sprinting toward the porch like predators who thought the night belonged to them. A few houses down, another figure stepped from the shadows. Ryder J. Spista. He watched the boys approach the house, amused. Kids these days, he muttered. No subtlety. He wasn't here to help them, but he certainly wasn't here for Maya's safety. He approached the house from the opposite side, boots crunching softly on gravel, eyes shining with sick excitement. He paused by a tree near the window, watching Maya trembling on the couch. He smirked. Around 2, princess. He lifted his hand and prepared to bang on the glass. But then a low rumble filled the night. The sound rolled over the houses like distant thunder drawing closer. Brandon froze mid-step. What the... Tyler's phone shook in his hand from the vibration. Bro, what is that? An earthquake. Headlights appeared at the end of the road. Then more, then more, then more. A wave of motorcycles turned the corner, black silhouettes moving in perfect formation, engines roaring like a storm tearing open the sky. Tank led the front, eyes fixed on Maya's home, a positions he ordered through his mic, and no one gets near that house. The riders split into groups with military precision, blocking the street in both directions, headlights forming a blazing wall of white. Brandon stumbled backward. Dude, what did we just walk into? Ryder J stiffened, recognizing the patches, recognizing Tank. Oh, hell, he whispered, taking a step back, because now he was outnumbered, and Tank had already seen him. As the bikers surrounded the street and the boys froze like cornered animals, Tank stepped off his motorcycle, ready to face Ryder J, the bullies, and anyone else who dared threaten Maya.